Hi, this is Lois Mahoney, and I'm going to show you how to do VLOOKUP and validation controls in Excel. Let's get started by looking at VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP is a formula that allows you to easily match up data in two different locations and bring them together. In my situation here, I want to look up the points a student has earned in my grade table and automatically assign them the grade. So again, we're going to look up information in this table from over here in this table, combine it with information in this table to put in the grade. So the way this works is we're going to do a VLOOKUP, and we're going to put parentheses. Now VLOOKUP says we're going to look up the information vertically. And notice here Excel tries to help us write the formula. So this says what value do you want to look up, and I want to say I want to look up the very top value in that column, comma. It says, where do you want me to look it up? Where's your VLOOKUP table? My VLOOKUP table is over here, so I'm going to color that in. Please note that the first column of your VLOOKUP table has to be the column where you're looking up the data. And also, you don't want to include the titles. And we're going to put another comma. So now we want to do the column index. So what Excel is saying is, once you find 88, what column is it where you want me to pull the data? Well, if this is the first column, I want to pull the grades out of the second column, so I'm going to say column 2, comma. Now notice, you could have a table here that's 20 columns long, and you could say pull the information from the 19th column. We just don't have that. And the last criteria is an exact match or approximate match. So an exact match would be, you have to find exactly this number 88 over here. Now in my case, I don't really want to do an exact match. But there might be situations where you would want, especially if you're trying to combine company data that's in two places, you'd want to find the exact company in both places or the exact ticker codes in both places, but we don't have that situation. So we're going to do an approximate match, which is a true. And the way the approximate match works is, Excel is going to take this 88 and come over here to the first column and try to find that number. So it goes to the first row and says a 0. Well, 88 is more than a 0. Let me keep moving on. Goes to the next row, which is 60, and says, 88 is more than a 60. I'm going to keep moving. It goes to the third column and says, well, gee, 88 is more than 70. We're going to keep moving on to the next row. And then it goes to 80 and says, I'm more than 88, I'm going to keep moving on. So now it gets to 90 and it says, whoops, I'm less than 90. I'm going to back up 1 and I'm going to go over and grab the information from the second column. So that's the way the true works. Now notice if you do a true option here, this data has to be arranged from the smallest to the largest number, or if you do an alphabetic from A to Z. And I'm going to push enter. And the right grade did come in there. Now what I just need to do is to copy it down to make it easy. But since Excel is relative, if I would copy this down, yes, I do want it now to look up the grade in C6, but notice here my table changed. It went from G5 to H9, and it should be G4 to H8. So what I need to do is go up here and make the table an absolute. And I can do that by coloring it in and pushing the F4 button. And notice the dollar signs appear in front of the G and the 4 and the H and the 8. So again, I colored it in and clicked on the F4 button. Now the other way I could have done is just typed in the dollar sign in front of the G, in front of the 4, in front of the H, in front of the 8. I'm going to push enter, and there's my grade. And now I can come over here and copy it down, and all my grades are correct. So that's the way that you do a VLOOKUP. Okay, next let's go on and look at validation controls. What validation controls do is they allow you to put some controls inside your cells so that if people put in information that doesn't meet your criteria, it will give them a warning or not allow them to do it. For example, let's do a validation control on column D. So again, I'm going to do this on every row in column D. And if I click on the Data tab, you will notice I have Data Validation. So I'm going to click on the Data Validation. And you have 3 different things that you need to do for this data validation. The first is the setting. So under my setting tab, I'm going to say, let's look for a whole number. And I want that number, I can choose to be not between, equal to, less than. I'm going to do between. And we can just put that number has to be between 0 and, let's just make it 3 million. Okay, and all right, so They only can put in numbers between 0 and 3 million. Here's my input message, and here I can put in a message that says put in a number between 0 and 3 million. And this message will pop up whenever the user clicks on a cell in this column. And then here's my error alert. And the error alert, I can either say stop warning or information, but when the user puts in a number that's not between 0 and 3 million, this error will pop up only then. So I'm going to say, you made an error. Please put in a number between 0 and 3 million. Make sure I got those. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say OK. All right, so notice there's my message. Whenever I pop up, if I pop on, it goes away. Now what happens if I put in a negative number? The message pops up. Okay, I can do a retry. If I put in a correct number, I'm fine. If I put in too big of a number, it pops up also. So that's the way that validation control works. I want to show you one more validation control where it allows you to use a formula. So let's do it on column E. So again, under the Data tab, Data Validation, we're going to do a Data Validation. We're going to go to Settings. Again, I'm going to go with a whole number, but you can play around with other ones. Now I'm going to say put in a number between 100. And notice here I can do a formula. I can say equal a formula. The maximum would be this number times 3. Okay. And again, I can do an input message. Put in a number between. I forgot what my criteria is. Whatever you want. Here's your error alert. You entered in the wrong number. And then I can say OK. So now, if I put in a number that's wrong, it's going to tell me it's wrong. So anyways, that's a little bit about validation controls, and I hope that helps you work on your assignment. Signing off, Dr. Mahoney.